Hello, dreamers, and welcome back to Into the Dreamscape. I'm your host, William Copper. Before we get into tonight's episode, are you craving delicious chewy boba? FS Drinks brings cafe quality boba drinks straight to your fridge. With refreshing flavors like mango and hojicha green tea, you'll love every sip. Enjoy an exclusive 20% discount with my promo code IDS. Find them at fsdrinks.com. There is a trigger warning for this episode. This episode talks about explicit death and sexual activities. Listener discretion is advised. Episode 6 I Forgive You. Today was the day of the annual town parade, where everyone from the town gathered in the streets to watch the local business owners drive and walk by with signs and slogans for their various occupations. This also included the local police, the emergency team, and the scouts of the county. Because of where my husband and I bought our dream home, we were positioned at the very beginning of the parade, which meant a lot of people chose to either sit in our front yard with lawn chairs or park their vehicles in our oversized driveway. We didn't mind this. I mean, if we could still get out in case of an emergency, that's all we cared about. And it's not like we hadn't run into any situations years prior. I was in the den, getting my drink and snacks together to go outside and enjoy the festivities, when I noticed a familiar car pull into our driveway. It was a 2017 dark blue Jeep Renegade with a license plate that read, "All for you." It was my husband's ex-wife, Elizabeth, and her fiancé, Horace. No way this bitch just pulled in our driveway. "Claude," I said, as he was still inside the house preparing his drink. "Look who just pulled into our driveway." He moseyed on out of the kitchen, a mixed drink in hand, with a cozy around it to keep the ice from melting quicker. He looked outside and smiled. "Oh yeah," he said, still smiling. "Didn't I tell you? I invited Liz and Horace over to sit on our lawn this year, so they could be at the beginning of the parade and leave at a decent time." "You didn't tell me shit," I said angrily. "Why would you invite them? After everything you've endured from her? I don't really want her here." Claude looked over at me, still smiling. "Honey, that was years ago. I think it's time we all move on from the past and live in the now. It would make things easier." "What do you mean, easier?" I asked. He didn't say anything and walked outside to greet Horace and the bitch. "Yeah, that's what I'll be calling her, the bitch." He gave her a long hug, too long for my book, and then shook his hand before pulling him in for a one-armed hug. What the hell was I seeing here? Did I mix my drink too strongly? Claude motioned for me to come outside, and I really didn't want to be rude, but I needed more alcohol if I was going to give the bitch more than 5 minutes of my time. I put my finger up, almost putting my middle finger up, and motioned to give me a minute. I put my current drink on the counter and mixed a tall glass of vodka with cola, the cola only to give it color. I took a big gulp before walking outside to politely greet them. As I approached, they were all laughing hysterically about something. "What did I miss?" I asked. "Oh, Carla, honey," began Claude, looking redder in the face than normal. "Horace was just telling me about a wild party they attended last week, and people swapped spouses. Even those who came alone could partake. Can you believe that?" "No, I can't," I said with a disgusted look in my face. "You and Claude should try it sometime," said the bitch. "It's exhilarating." "Sounds like a cesspool of STDs," I scoffed. "Well, it's not like that," Horace chimed in. "Everyone who attends must have been screened within a week of the party and not partake in any other sharing. We all show our results at the door and then put our keys into a jar. The host will pick out 2 sets of keys, and then those people will go to a room and have some fun time." That's appalling. Are people not happy with who they're with? Who they choose to spend the rest of their lives with? I asked while shaking my head. "Oh, it's not even about that," chimed the bitch. It's about the thrill of not knowing who you're going to enjoy your night with. Sometimes you might just get lucky, and it will be someone you've been eyeballing at several parties. As she said this, I saw her quickly glance over at my husband. Claude, I need some help with something in the kitchen, I said. Can you help me, please? Sure, honey, Claude replied, confused. Once Claude and I were back in the kitchen, I laid right into him. What was that bitch talking about out there? And then glancing at you? I asked. Well, Claude started. I wanted to mention something to you before, but I didn't know exactly how to. What the fuck do you mean? I angrily asked. You see, he continued, once a week when I've been going out to the bar, I've actually been joining Liz and Horace on their escapade. At first, I only sat back and watched, but as the weeks moved on, I started to participate. You, I started, can shut your fucking mouth right now. Honey, Claude began. Don't, I exclaimed. Go back outside. I need some time to think. Claude sheepishly walked out of the house. How could he do this? I said to myself. Was I not enough for him? I tried my hardest to perform my wifely duties. He'll pay for this. That's when an idea struck. An awful idea. I rummaged through the kitchen for a minute and then made my way back outside. I walked up to Liz. Hey, Liz, I have a question. After talking with Claude, I'd like to see where one of those parties is being held. Would you be interested in bringing both of us to the next one? The bitch looked at me wide-eyed, but smiled and said, Of course. There's actually a party tonight. We can head there after the parade if you like. Oh, that's perfect, I said with an even bigger smile. Let's enjoy this parade together and then make our way. The parade had twice as many groups as in previous years. I guess with all the new businesses that popped up, it was a given. I watched as the bitch, Horace, and my dear, loving husband all stood and cheered for each group, a drink in hand and a shitting grin on each of their faces. As the last of the groups made their way down the street, Claude pulled me aside. Honey, he started, you don't have to do this. Oh, I think I do, I said. I want to see what all this fuss is about, and why you've been partaking. I don't think you're gonna like it, honey, Claude said weakly. I'll be fine, I assured him. I promise. We walked over to Horace's Jeep, and Horace opened my door. I gave him a weird look, but I let him do it anyways. Claude got in behind Horace, which was great because I didn't want to sit next to the bitch anyway. Why would I? We made our way down the road for about 5 minutes. Within those 5 minutes, I went over the plan in my head. Over and over. Yes, it was time. As Claude and Horace were talking, I pulled a small steak knife out of my purse. I made it look as though I was looking for my makeup. Claude didn't even notice. He was too caught up in his conversation with Horace. Claude let out a boisterous laugh, followed by the sounds of deep gurgling, as I stabbed him repeatedly in the throat, and blood was filling his airway. What the fuck? Yelled Horace. As he yelled, the bitch let out a blood-curdling scream, but she was next. I took my knife and stabbed her in the back of the throat to stop her annoying screaming, and then finally, one solid blow to her dainty skull. Horace pulled the car over as fast as he could and ran. He wasn't an issue to me. Yet. I got out of the car and watched him run. As he was running, his phone was next to his head. I knew it was only a matter of time. Standing on the side of the road, covered in blood, waiting for the cops to show up, all I could do was smile. I looked inside the car, where 2 of the 3 bodies now resided, motionless. I forgive you. I said as I stared at his corpse. And that was called I Forgive You. Was this a story? Was this a dream? That's up to you to decide, dreamer. If you would like to submit your story, please email into thedreamscape88@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening to this podcast. I hope you have a wonderful evening.